The 2010s video games were defined in an era of toys to life. The ability to take one of your favorite toys and then make it pop up on the screen was kind of revolutionary at the time. It didn't last long, with the last installment being the sixth game, Imaginators, but nonetheless, Skylanders was a huge part of the childhood of many of us Gen Z kids. The whole idea may seem like a great way to steal your money, which it was, but honestly the gameplay was pretty well rounded, with an ability of each character having a different unique skill set and different things to do. I mean, there was a lot to love. Despite this, as you know, I'm sure, the game's ended. They're through and they're done. Despite that, their fanbase has been growing a lot in the last few years. U2's, a company that takes iconic franchises and turns them into vinyl figures or plushes, recently picked up on the Skylanders franchise and has been releasing a lot of characters within that area. While this isn't saying a new game's coming out, it's showing sign that there's fans for the game still around, even nearly a decade after the franchise's death. So I wanted to take some time to honor it. We haven't really actually seen any Giants figures being represented in these new U2's characters. They're going to release with a vinyl figure of T-Rex, but they haven't shipped yet. What are Giants, though? Giants are basically just bigger versions of the Skylanders that you already know and love, with most of them being about yay big and the others being about big. Giants.
Skylanders Giants, the only video game where toys come to life.
Oh, that's not good.
We've been spotted.
We're toast!
I've got this. Take a seat, Furball.
Whoa! How'd you do that?
I'm a giant. Booyah.
My parents might have been one of the smartest people I know. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but for most of my formative years, I had no idea that such a franchise as the Toys to Life even existed. Whether that be the kind of ads that I was seeing or stores my parents took me to, they really never caught my attention, or did I ever realize they exist. This was all until I turned 10. My best friend's Wii U had just broken, and so they decided to get rid of all their games and the console itself. At the time, GameStop wasn't accepting Skylanders because it was at the end of the era and most people were sick of Toys to Life games. They weren't ready to go buy more. And so I became the happy owner of over 30 brand new Skylanders from my friend's old collection. What went from a lack of knowledge became a love for these kinds of games. Specifically, Skylanders. They became one of my favorite games on the Wii U, and it led me to collect some of my new favorite Skylanders. For example, Pop Fizz, who I'd seen on the Skylanders TV show, but had no idea was actually affiliated to the game. One of the others that I had expanded into was the Giants franchise. I loved these guys. They were tanks who were slow but hefty and dealt a lot of damage, and were especially good in some of the earlier games like Giants, of course, or Swap Force, which came right after. It's hard to tell exactly what their personality is like, though, because what may just look like a still character now gains so much life when you can see it on the big screen, moving and shooting his hands. It just takes a couple button clicks to see what this guy is all about. Shooting out of the fingers, lasers out of the eyes, a dash here or there. I mean, the guy's got a lot to love about him. What especially fascinated about him to me today was his fairly simple design. He's not actually that simple, really, when you look at him, but in comparison to dragons with wings shooting out of them and round creatures that'd be awfully difficult to replicate in Lego, Bouncer seemed like the best option to me. And so with that began the development of my Lego version. You could immediately see that the Lego one is quite a bit bigger than the actual Bouncer. This was less an artistic choice and more one that I was forced into, because Lego bricks can only get so small, and if you're a Lego builder, then you'll know that smaller bricks are typically newer bricks, which I don't necessarily have a huge collection of. So with my limited supply, I decided that I'd give it a shot just with about 1.5 upscale of what he actually is. I started on the bottom and kind of built my way up. Instead of actually having a rolling wheel, I opted for something with a little thinner and more stability, and so I stuck studs into it and built up from there. From there, I'm actually flipping the whole build upside down. The whole entire body is built the wrong way. I don't know why I really decided to do this, but I figured it'd probably be the easiest way to build it. I don't know if that's actually the case, but I figured I'd be cool and do things, different. From there, the body's pretty basic if you can't already tell. It's just block built with a tiny bit of snot building for some of the side builds. When we get up to the top, the hinge that's connecting to the head allows the head to now be flipped over and built the right way, which almost gives the illusion that the whole entire build is that way. The arms then are just a couple ball and sockets, moving into some more building from different angles, and into the hands. The hands don't look the most accurate, but arguably are the most important part of this figure, because, well, the iconic pose is, So I felt I had to get that pose right. I went through quite a few different hand iterations before I got to the one that I wanted. I figured the square for a finger really emphasized that this is what you should be looking at, and added a couple lasers coming out of it, even though realistically in the actual figure it's just a hole on the end. With all of that, the back is actually pretty ugly. There's not much going on here, but that's for a purpose. If you can see, there's a ball which allows me to attach it to the joint. That's how I get it to be able to pose onto the stand, just like the real bouncer is standing on. Because realistically, trying to get him to actually balance on this tiny little wheel is pretty far-fetched. I don't have the advantage of just gluing my characters onto a stand like actual Skylanders do. Other than that, there's not much else to say. The only thing left to do is to test and see if it works.
Yeah, the answer is no.